In last week's parsha, we have an interesting pasuk. The verse says, an interesting Rashi. The verse says, at the end of the portion, it says, Moses sent messengers to the king of Edom. It's talking about how the Jews are coming to the Jordan, and they're the last stretch of the desert, and they have to pass by different nations in order to get to the Jordan. So Moses asked permission to go into the countries. The Torah tells us a few countries. Some the Jews had to fight, some they rerouted. It's all in the Torah. There's the last week's portion. But Rashi on that verse says Moses sent messengers to the king of Edom. Rashi asks a question, but we find another verse and another in the prophets that talks about the same story about sending messengers to the king of Edom, and it says the Yishlach Yisrael Malachim, that the Jewish people sent messengers, not Moses, but the Jewish people sent the messengers. And then Rashi continues and he says we find the same contradiction regarding another matter. And he quotes two verses. One verse says that the Jewish people did such and such, and the other verse says that Moses did such and such. And Rashi continues, these verses need one another. One opens and one closes. To teach you, to teach you that Moses and the Jewish people, Moses the Jewish people, and the Jewish people is Moses, and therefore the verses interchange using Moses for the Jewish people. So this teaches us that the Nasi, in every generation there's one leader, there's many tzaddikim, and many great Gedolei Yisrael, many great people, but there's only one Nasi. We've known the time of the temple there was something called the Nasi, the leader of the Jewish people, had an official name called the Nasi, and it continued even also in Babylon, it also continued the same idea. So the Nasi, that there's one, and that Nasi is unique because the Nasi is connected to each one of us. He's not only for a certain group, he is connected on a soul level to each one of us, to every single one. When you talk about a Rebbe, so the word Nasi, which means a leader, a prince, the Hebrew root of the word comes from the word naso, to raise. And really that's what describes what it is to be a leader. The job of the leader is to raise the people, to raise the Jewish people. There's a teaching that says that a parent to a child is heart to heart. A teacher to a pupil is mind to mind. A Rebbe to a disciple, to a chassid, is soul to soul. The Rebbe has a unique ability to raise the Jewish people. And anyone that ever had the privilege of being in the presence of the Rebbe felt that right away. That was, you speak about things about the Rebbe, there's so many stories, and today it even has a name, Rebbe stories, because everybody knows there's so many stories about the Rebbe, but generally they divide themselves in two types of stories about the Rebbe, either miracles, which the Rebbe is a very great miracle maker, or stories how people were affected and they were totally changed by their experience and uplifted by their experience with the Rebbe. And that continues. It wasn't only then. That continues by being connected to the Rebbe. That continues by learning about him, his teachings, by being connected to what he tells us to do. That is the ability of a Rebbe to raise us. The way I felt it was, I had the privilege of being many years by the Rebbe, and the way I would put it was, a person gets raised many times, many experiences in life. We're raised, we have more spiritual moments, especially in Torah. We have a Shabbos and a holiday, and there's many special experiences, but the experience of being by the Rebbe, I can tell you, was just not being raised a little. It wasn't just a very special experience, but it was totally a qualitative, different experience. And the way I would describe it would be was, every one of us has a neshama, we have a soul. But the soul comes down into a body. And we have two parts of us. We have the soul that gravitates towards spiritual things, and we have the body that gravitates towards physical things. And even when we have a spiritual experience, which we do, we daven every day, we learn every day, we do different things, it's still in the lens of the physicality, because we're human beings and we have all our needs and all our wants and we're never totally unoccupied from the physical presence. Even when we're having a spiritual experience with davening, we're looking at the watch, we're thinking about this, we're thinking about that. So it's in the lens of the physical. Yes, it's a spiritual experience, but you can't get away from your essence, who you are. By the Rebbe, I remember we felt, you could say it was like you didn't feel that physical experience. It was a unadulterated spiritual experience, and that is something qualitatively different. It's a total different experience than you can get from anything else. And in my life, I only saw the Rebbe, only by the Rebbe I was able to sense that. I remember just a few years ago, there's so many stories, but I just remember a few years ago I was at the Ohel, at the Rebbe's resting place, and there was a lot of people. There was a rabbi there. It was just a regular day. I came into New York for some reason, and I was by the Ohel, and it was and if you've ever been by the Rebbe's resting place, the way it works is you go to the resting place, but then there's also like a little building where you after you go, or before you go, you sit down, you write a letter to the Rebbe, and there's a big video machine. Displaying videos of the Rebbe of different things, and usually after you come out of the Ohel, you've had a few intense moments. You people, you don't go every day to the Ohel. You ask for things that were very important to you. You prayed. It's a very special moment by the Ohel. You want to relax before you get into the car. You have a few moments. You don't just run into the car. So you sit there, you take a coffee or something, and there's a big video playing, and of different scenes by the Rebbe. So I remember I was there. It was very empty. It was a regular afternoon. It was towards the end of the day, and happened to be that in the room there were only two people. They were not Chabad Hasidim. One was Rabbi Grossman. Rabbi Grossman is a very famous rabbi from member.Boulder. He has a big institution called member.Boulder, I believe. He's very well known in Israel. They call him the disco rabbi. Why? Because in member.Boulder, the disco started opening Friday night. It was like a big revolution to have the discos open Friday night. So he said, and the religious Jews didn't like it. In Israel, it works a little different than in America. The religious Jews are protesting different, unreligious acts. So it was a whole commotion. So he would go every Friday night to the disco, and he would speak to the young boys. He's a very charismatic person. He would speak to the boys and girls, and he said, if they're going to open a disco, I'm going to come here and I'm going to bring Shabbos to the disco. So they call him the disco rabbi. He's very popular in Israel, very well known, very foreign rabbi. He had a very deep connection with the rabbis to come along. I remember when I was a yeshiva boy, I used to see him come to the Rebbe a lot. And he was there, and then there was another fellow who was also not a Chabad Chassid. You could see he was a religious guy, but not Chabad. And we're sitting there, he was sitting there just and watching the video, and it's a Farbrengen, and there's a song going, everybody's singing a lively song. And all of a sudden, the Rebbe stands up and he starts dancing, and the place turns into the whole place, you could see the reaction of the people in the crowd, that everybody's dancing, and it's even through a video, it's palpable what kind of moment that was, the dancing, how everybody totally forgot about everything and was totally into it. And the Hasidic Jew turns around to Rabbi Grossman and he said, Nar hat das gekannt beweisen. Only he could achieve such things. So these were Jews that had their own Rebbes and had great people, but they realized that only the Rebbe had this power to totally lift us. So, L'chaim, as we said before, this is a great gift, and we have it today by being connected to the Rebbe. It continues to everyone. The Rebbe is the Nasi of everyone. It doesn't belong to one person more than another person. Hashem made that there should be a general soul that is connected to every soul of the generation. And by the Rebbe we saw it clearly how he cared for every Jew in the greatest fashion. So, and every person, not only every Jew, for every person. So, today is a day that's associated with the Rebbe. It's a special day, so Hashem should help. We should all become more connected to the Rebbe. By learning his teachings, he has so many directives, he gave so much direction of things to do, and following his paths, and by being more connected, we have the ability to have these moments, what only a Rebbe can do, to lift us and give us these moments. So L'chaim, we should have many of these moments, and this will bring us to the greatest moment that the Rebbe promised, that his job is to bring us to Mashiach. L'chaim.